Let me say this plainly because this one gets messy fast. D&D can be good for you, but it is not therapy. And if a table starts treating the game like group counseling, you just don't risk having a weird session. You risk wrecking trust, friendships, and the campaign itself because the goal can shift without anyone meaning it to. One week you're here to play, next week you're here to fix somebody. And now somebody at the table is carrying weight they never agreed to carry. Usually it's the DM, but it can be everybody. Sometimes it is everybody. And that's not what anyone signed up for when they brought snacks, Mountain Dew, and a handful of dice. This is a collab with Joe the Lawyer, Joe Block, and Mr. Welch. Their channels are listed below. Now, if you mean therapy the way people mean, I need to decompress after a long week, sure. Rolling dice, laughing with friends, getting out of your own head for a few hours, yes, it can help. But if someone means therapy as in this game is going to solve my underlying issues, that's where the table starts taking damage. Because D&D is a hobby. It's a social game. It's unpredictable. It runs on tension, conflict, and surprise. And it's also four, five, six people with different moods and different thresholds trying to have a good time at the same table. And that's a really shaky place to try to do, I don't know, real emotional repair. So here's the line to remember. D&D can support your well-being, it can't replace professional help. And trying to force it to do so, well, that job usually hurts the whole table, including the person who's struggling. So D&D can do a lot of good things for people. It gives you a connection, it helps you socialize, a little routine, a few hours of laughter, a safe place to be a different version of yourself for a while. Heck, a chance to feel youthful, clever, brave, possibly even competent. I know we're pushing it, but I'm just saying. And that's all good. That's all real good. But D&D can't diagnose you. It can't treat you. It can't promise emotional safety the way therapy is built to. It can't turn your friends into a support team on demand. And it can't carry one person's healing plan without warping the whole game around it. And here's the biggest tell that the line's been crossed. When the campaign starts getting shaped around one player's emotional needs instead of the group's shared fun. See, that's not being supportive. That's turning a gaming group into a personal treatment plan. And that's unfair. Not because people don't deserve help, they certainly do. It's unfair because the table is not the right place to require that kind of help from people who never consented to provide it and aren't trained to do so. Now, this doesn't usually happen in most groups unless there's a, I don't know, there's not usually a big announcement, all right? Nobody shows up saying, tonight I'm going to use this hobby to process my trauma, and you're all going to be responsible for it. People don't come to the table saying that. Okay? It's softer, it's gentler. I want my character to explore some heavy stuff. I relate to this villain. I want this current arc to be about forgiveness. Sometimes that's just storytelling, and that's fine, right? But sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the real goal becomes emotional repair instead of play, and the whole table gets pulled into it. Other players become supporting cast, whether they want to or not. And the DM becomes the director of somebody's emotional journey. And the problem is the DM isn't trained for that. The DM didn't agree to that. And the other players sure as hell didn't either. So when it goes sideways, and trust me, in these situations, it's more likely than not, everybody else starts feeling guilty, defensive, trapped, or probably worse, resentful. See, that guilt is the campaign killer. So I'll give you a mini table scenario. You've got a player who just went through a rough breakup, right? Bad week. You can tell they're hurting. The group wants to be kind. Nobody wants to be that guy, the bad guy. Session starts, and the player says, I want my character's romance, and you weren't planning on a romance in the first place, to mirror what I'm going through. I need closure. I want an arc where the NPC apologizes, admits they were wrong, and I get to decide whether to forgive them. And before anybody goes, what? Does that actually happen? If you read stuff online, apparently so. So the session starts, and on paper, it might sound like that's, I don't know, maybe a story or to role play. Eh, In reality, that's a trap. Because what happens when the other players don't want romantic scenes at the table? Because trust me, we don't. I don't. I'm pretty sure you don't. The DM doesn't want to role play as the apologizing ex. I know I sure wouldn't want to. The scene doesn't land the way the player needs it to land. Another player, if you're in one of my groups, it would happen sooner or later, cracks a joke at the wrong moment, and now it's, you're making fun of my pain. Now you're not having a normal game disagreement. You're standing on an emotional landmine. So what's the right route? What's the right move? Well, keep the compassion, but make sure there's a boundary. Something like, I'm sorry you're going through it, and I'm glad you're here with us. But this table, our game session, is not the place to run scenes built for real life closure. But let's keep the campaign focused on what we're here to do. And if you want to talk after the game, I'm here for you. I'm sure the other players are here for you. And that does a few important things. It supports the person, right? It protects the table, it protects the group. And it doesn't pretend that the DM is a therapist or a professional of this or any sort. It keeps the game from becoming a substitute for something it can't provide. Because here's the truth: if somebody is relying on the table for emotional repair, the game table will, well, it'll disappoint them sooner than later. Not out of cruelty, but out of the fact that it's a game. Now, the point where people often talk past each other. Some folks hear D&D is in therapy, and they hear, "Oh, D&D can't help anyone." I'm not saying that. D&D can absolutely help. Like friendship helps, like laughter helps, like having a regular night where you're around people helps. The difference is the expectation. If you show up thinking, "Oh, this is fun, this is connection, and it steadies me," you're in a healthy realm. Okay, you've got the right mindset. If you show up thinking this table must fix what is broken in me, that's pressure, not just on you, on your fellow players, on your GM, on the whole session. And it quietly turns your friends into staff, even if nobody ever says it out loud. So, how do you keep it drifting? Well, there's some practical fixes. Okay, first, consent and scope. Be clear what the table is for: adventure, problem solving, shared fun, right? What else? Boundaries without shame. You matter, your well being matters, and this table can carry the job of being your therapist. And give it over it. If something hits hard, you have a plan that doesn't require the group to become a crisis team. That plan can be simple. Pause, fade out, take 5, check in after. That's not cold. That's being adults. Because pretending your table can do therapy is what usually ends up a failure. It blows up in your face. Now, of course, this is usually when somebody says, "Well, isn't that what safety tools are for?" And if you've watched this channel, you know my opinion on safety tools, but not in the way people mean it. See, safety tools are they're table tools, right? They're there to help a group navigate fiction without stepping on each other's boundaries, whatever. They're not a replacement for professional treatment. Again, I understand what safety tools are. I get why some tables use them. I'm not a fan. I don't use them at my table, and not because I want anybody to feel uncomfortable. I don't. But it's because I'd rather handle this the old fashioned way. I set expectations up front, we talk like adults, and I trust people to speak up when something for them is off. And if your table loves safety tools, fine, great, have at it. Use what works for you. I'm not here to police anybody's table. But whether you use them or not, the point stands. They aren't therapy. At best, they are guardrails on a highway. Okay, therapy is getting the car repaired. Guardrails don't fix your engine. They keep you from going off the road when you're driving. That's it. So, what does this look like? What does therapy in D&D look like? Because some people go, "Oh, what are the signs?" Well, the campaign bends around one person's triggers, needs, emotional beats, whatever. But you are running the table to the benefit of one individual, their emotional benefit. And the DM may feel pressure to create, I don't know, healing scenes. You're not a professional. Trust me, you're going to fail at that. Other players can stop taking normal roleplay risks because they're worried about saying the wrong thing, worried about doing the wrong thing, worried about being, I don't know, triggering. The table starts walking on eggshells. Real arguments get disguised as character moments, and then nobody can talk about them honestly because it's all getting pushed aside. Game night feels tense. That's not safety. That's stress. That's not the game, right? Stress kills fun. It kills campaigns. So, what about exposure, right? DM reads online that confronting fears in a controlled setting can be helpful. They mean well. They think they're being thoughtful. I'm going to make this real short. You're not. You're not a professional. Don't try this at home. Don't try this at a game table. Okay? This is a game. Nobody should have to tough anything out to earn comfort at your table. Just don't do it. So, you want something you can actually use tonight? Well, here you go. This is the D&D is a game checklist, right? And keep it as a game. Set the purpose in one sentence. Hey, the game is for adventure and fun with friends. Period. No higher meaning, no bigger goal. Name your limit in one sentence. We're not using the campaign to process any real life trauma, real life issues, anything that anybody is going through. Please leave that behind. If your table uses safety tools, again, fine, have at it. But if you're like me, you don't use them, just be an adult. Set the expectations up front and make it normal for somebody to tap out or speak up if they need to. And character arcs are great, but don't focus on one person because you feel they need it. Okay, that's not helping anybody. That's not helping them, and that's not helping the rest of the table. if something seems off at the end, is everybody good? And you know what? Somebody's having issues, be a friend. Okay? That's the best thing that you can do is be a friend, but you're not a therapist. Don't try to be one. And if you are a true friend and you think they really have issues that need therapy, maybe you need to tell them, listen, I care about you, but you may need to see a professional. There's no shame in that. Okay. That's being a true friend if they really need it. That's not rejection. That's respect for them and everyone else at the table. That way you don't accidentally ask the campaign to carry something that it can't safely carry. So yes, D&D can be good for your mental health in the way friendship and socialization is good for your mental health, but it's not therapy. And trying to force it into that role does a disservice to the game, your game table, your group, and the person that's needs the true help. So, in all seriousness, don't pretend dice can replace professional help. It doesn't. And again, if you found this useful, consider subscribing and watch the other collabs in this series. Thank you, and God bless.